Eight 865.
Welcome to 865th and our last.
No, trust me. If telling Mike to eat a dick is a sign that it's the last, we would have ended years ago.
Yeah.
We'd have stopped at number
Okay,
8.
Episode 1.
All
How you
right,
been,
we're on
Mike?
the 2 minute countdown.
2 minutes. We were just on 2 minute countdown.
I set the countdown. All right.
Oh, so now you got 2 minutes to go ahead and move that picture over. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Kevin, did you ever see James Gandolfini? They did an interview with him, and they asked. In fact, it was inside the actor's studio. They asked him what his favorite curse word was.
Hey, you got to tell me which one of these. There's a bunch of them here, man. Which one did you want me to pull?
The Doge Father. The Doge Father.
The Doge Father. Okay, got it.
They did an interview with James Gandolfini, and they said what his favorite curse word was, and he goes, "Well, it's actually a New Jersey curse word. It's fucking douchebag."
Fucking douchebag.
Because that's my favorite New Jersey curse word. Fucking douchebag.
It's been said many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I think I said it about 30 times just leaving the state in traffic.
Yeah. Yep. One of my favorites is in New York. If you say hi to somebody you see, and they don't say hi back, then it's okay to say, "Oh, no, hello. All right, I guess I'll just go fuck myself." Okay, thanks a lot.
What What is the other one? How you doing?
How you doing?
All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yay, he got it right again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. It's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. 2A Views, conservative news. Craig, guess what day it is?
Oh, that would be Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a treat.
Yes, it is Taco Tuesday, and we are going to have a very, very good time today. You know, Mike, I think we're going to be having some kind of exotic tacos here in the DeLuz household. My son-in-law bought both duck bacon and boar bacon, and so I think we're going to be having like boar bacon tacos this evening.
I think all boar bacon is just bacon. It's just bacon.
I'll tell you, I've had it and it tastes delicious. It tastes better than just regular bacon.
You know, boars are usually the pigs that they get out wild and they pick up at the dump,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
pretty much, yeah. Pretty much,
So
yeah.
that's the dump.
Wild,
Duck
give me some wild pig. Wee, wee, wee.
Is that you make? I've heard you make that noise before when we were in Vegas. That's weird. When duck bacon, that's just duck bellies. Is
All
that
right.
what that is?
Mike, you know what? You need to act right because as many of you may or may not know, we actually do. Well, many of you do not know. We have some company with us today, and that would be our good friend Kevin Sona, the organizer, founder, chief cook, and bottle washer over at the 2A Freedom Fest. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good now. I'm thinking about second guessing Mike, inviting him back to 2A Freedom Fest after that whole pig squealing thing that happened in Vegas.
It wasn't me. I'm just telling the story. That's all. I'm just telling the story.
Makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
Kevin, you know, Mike's stories are just that, stories. Sometimes they are fictional, sometimes not. Sometimes they are based on a true story.
Craig, it's like a conspiracy connoisseur. It all has its roots in truth. It all has its roots.
It all has roots in the truth. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Isn't that the truth?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Isn't that the truth? Well, hey, we wanted to have Kevin on because we want to talk a little bit about 2A Freedom Fest, and he's going to join us to talk a little bit about some of the news stories today. So, Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over to you and have you go ahead and let the folks know a little bit about 2A Freedom Fest, what to expect, and why they should show up.
Perfect. Yeah. 2A Freedom Fest started as just a time to go out and do some fellowship with some friends involved in the Second Amendment community, and it's turned into an event where we have people like Mike and Craig DeLuz coming in, and people from all over the country. President of Gun Owners of America, Eric Perret, coming out. Dan Wass out of upstate New York. So yeah, a lot of your individuals that are fighting for our Second Amendment rights come from pretty anti-gun states like New Jersey and New York and California, as you guys know. But the event is this Saturday at Runaway Campers in Summerfield, Florida. Everyone's welcome to come out. It's free to attend. We have some awesome guest speakers and a few other individuals that will be speaking that we haven't announced yet. So the event is, like I said, it's free to attend, free lunch. These guys will be there. What is it, Mike? What is this? Your fifth?
I don't think it's one. So however many we got is how many I've ever been to.
Yeah, and Craig, you've been out here for a while now.
This will be my third. I've missed two of them.
Okay. Well, you missed more than two. This is our eighth.
Oh, this is your eighth. Okay. Well, there you go. Well, this will be my third.
You have to excuse Craig. His brain reset during the COVID cycle. For him, that's when society started all over again.
Yeah, your first one was at Rainbow Springs in 2021.
That's right, during Cracker Weekend.
That was during Cracker Weekend, just before COVID. So we went from crackers to COVID.
2 weeks, literally. Country shut it down.
Practically shut it down, exactly.
Yeah.
Luckily, the crackers did not give me COVID. All right, look, before we get officially into the program, let's pay some bills real quick and get out a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Had lunch with the guys there today and the girls there today, as a matter of fact. So if you need yourself an AR barrel, new barrels, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire, get on over to hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you could take part in California's future today. You want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market? Get on over to Hog Holsters. That's HAWGholsters.com. HogHolsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, outdoor gear for military, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, you can get it all except the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment to visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this video. Just go there, check it out, click on the link, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also, want to encourage you, if you are watching the program live on YouTube, actually Facebook is not going to be live. Been having issues with the live stream over there, so we're not live. But we are on Rumble, we are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, once again, and YouTube. So go there, give us your comments, let us know what you think. If we find it to be interesting, we'll share it. We don't have to agree with it, but if we disagree with it, we hold out the option to mock you.
We will mock.
We will mock you. There you
It's
go.
almost a guarantee.
It's almost a guarantee. There you go. All right, let's get into our first story of the day. Last weekend, over in Europe, in fact, in Germany, our Vice President J.D. Vance gave a speech during which he made some comments regarding some disturbing practices or things that are taking place when it comes to freedom of speech there in Europe. In particular, Europe's war on freedom of speech. Let me share some of those comments with you real quick.
And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before.
So now, after that speech, Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation decided that she was going to just, castigate him. And she wanted to ask Marco Rubio, kind of put him, she thought she was going to put him on blast about J.D. Vance's speech and the things that he had to say. And, Marco Rubio had some choice words for Margaret Brennan.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of.
So it's not an accurate reflection of history. I don't know, Mike. I found that to be, first of all, her ignorance on it was crazy. It's like, really, it was the exact opposite. There was no freedom of speech. But then her hatred of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance was so great that she just had to make a statement that is so stupid it can be easily fact checked. I don't know. I am just amazed at the level of stupidity of this person.
Yeah, basically, and to think she's going to get that kind of response out of Marco Rubio. I mean, if anybody knows anything about Marco Rubio, his family came from Cuba, came from communist Cuba. Now he's the Secretary of State. And given the opportunity, I think by hand, he would choke out every communist in the world if he could. I mean, that's how much his hatred for communism and the restriction of civil rights that Marco Rubio believes in.
Now, Kevin, all right, so you see, these are the very same people that come after our Second Amendment rights. To see them go after the First Amendment like this with a bunch of lies, isn't this kind of similar to the lies they tell about the Second Amendment?
100%. Craig, we've talked about this many times. We look at things like what is your saying? What happens in California doesn't stay in California, right? So California has some of the strictest gun control laws, and that ends up feeding out to throughout the country and other states. This stuff happens here when California and our own media groups, lamestream media, let's say that, like shows like The View, want to censor free speech. That's a problem in this country. It's You guys know the group I created on Facebook years ago, and we had some full-blown racist people go on there and spout their stuff. I didn't delete them because I figured, you know what, they have the free right, they have the free speech to say what they want, and who am I to stop them from showing the world the a-holes they are? So it doesn't mean they got away with it. And they all left on their own after getting hammered. Hate speech, the word hate speech, no such thing, in my opinion. It's pretty subjective.
Well, exactly. What it comes down to is in their eyes, there's any speech they hate, they deem to be hate speech. And now they want us to take on a form. And what it is they want to be, the left in particular, wants to be the arbiters of what is actually hate speech and what is not hate speech. And what they want to see is some German-style penalties if you should happen to make statements that they dislike. Kind of like, well, you know, when they were talking with some folks in Germany about their hate speech laws. And by the way, if you think this stuff doesn't happen, here it is right here.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you're in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
That sticks around forever.
yeah.
The prosecutors explain German law also prohibits the spread of malicious gossip, violent threats, and fake quotes.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders.
So the funny part about this is groups like CBS, NBC News, ABC News, MSNBC posted so many things that we now know were in fact false, that were not true. My question, and by the way, they are in fact repeat offenders. My question would be, if we were to apply German-style standards to them, which CBS executives would wind up in jail?
That would be all of them, Craig. All of them.
That's pretty much what I thought your answer would be, and I resemble that remark, or I agree with that remark.
You know, and I can't remember the comedian who said it, Craig. In fact, I think I've made reference to it before. You know, if I could have any superpower in the world, it would be the ability to punch people through the internet, because when they start saying ridiculously stupid things that are lies, because there's no filter gone. There's no standing in front of anybody and having to face the consequences of the things you say. They believe that the internet is a free place where I could do what I want and I could say what I want with no repercussions. That's why I want that superpower. And I think, in fact, I believe it was Abraham Lincoln that said, "Don't believe
versus safety. We should always protect liberty over perceived safety, because in the end, that's all they ever actually do is the attempted perception that you are going to be more secure. Never do they actually provide more security."
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Yep. Moving right along, Hochul contemplates removing the mayor of New York. Now, this is a trip, because here you have, once again, as Mike stated yesterday, the most powerful politician in the state of New York is the mayor of New York. It's not the governor. It's not the attorney general. It is, in fact, the governor or the mayor of New York City. And what's funny about this is that you now, because the mayor has decided that he is going to allow ICE to come into his prisons and, take away violent criminals, right? he has decided, or Hochul now is looking at, she's discussing a quote unquote path forward after Eric Adams' deputies resign amid mayor's agreement to work with Trump. So now it's kind of funny because here you have her talking about overturning the will of the voters as a serious step that should not be taken lightly. That said, the alleged conduct at City Hall that has been reported over the past 2 weeks is troubling and cannot be ignored. I have asked key leaders to meet with me and my Manhattan office for a conversation about a path forward. Now, dudes, she is basically saying, because he is trying to protect his citizens, his voters, because he's trying to make sure that violent criminals, people who have committed crimes since they've been here in the U.S. or committed crimes before they got here, for whatever reason, they're in his jails. And now because they're criminals, they need to be gotten rid of. She wants to try and remove him from office.
Yeah, and Craig, she has that constitutional right under the state constitution there in New York. But again, read what she said and think about this for a moment. Again, I said to you yesterday, the mayor of New York is the most powerful office in the state of New York. I mean, clearly leads and has more people that have voted for him and that follow him than the governor has there. That she deals with. The mayor there is in charge of more people than the governor is, leads more people, has a bigger budget, does more than the state of New York does. She says in there that she's going to go to her Manhattan office and have a meeting with him. The governor's office, the governor's mansion is in Albany, 4 hours outside of New York City. But New York City is so important, she has an office there so she can talk to the mayor. All right. Even in her own statement, she admits, I'm going to go to the most powerful place on earth to talk to the most powerful man in New York, because my office 4 hours away is meeting this.
Can you imagine this, Kevin?
Are they claiming it's a constitutional crisis? Because I think it's kind of funny when they say we don't want to. It's a very serious matter that we don't want to basically disrupt how things are done, but they basically just threw who was the lady that just ran for vice president? Why did I go brain dead? Kamala Harris in there.
You were channeling Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. That's why you went brain dead.
I did.
You thought about her and your brain went dead.
The best thing that could happen, and I don't want to see this, right? The best thing that could happen to Eric Adams is that she goes after him, is that Hochul goes after Eric Adams, and maybe even removes Eric Adams from office. Because in November is the mayor's election again. Guess who's going to get reelected in November? Eric Adams. And then guess who's going to get elected governor 2 years after that? Eric Adams.
Eric Adams.
All she has to do is go after Eric Adams, and she'll make him the governor of New York. All right. That's how this is going to play out. Oh, and if she wants to go after and charge him, or this judge that doesn't now want to let go the dismissal of the Eric Adams charge, no worries. Have your little hearing tomorrow on Wednesday. The president will be along Thursday to pardon him. How about that? Okay.
That is the oddest thing, by the way. I've never heard of a judge say, look, you're going to come in and tell me why you decided to dismiss the charges. All one has to do is read the charges and be like, really? This is what you're charging him for? He got extra frequent flyer miles or something like that.
So the reason behind that, I mean, and it makes sense when you think about it, but the judge is using it to the extreme. The reason for that is so that they could come stand before the judge in a public place in a public hearing, and the attorney could say, we're releasing this without any ulterior motives. There's nobody's threats. So, Craig, imagine if Eric Adams had threatened the prosecutor's family. If you don't dismiss the charges, I'm going to kidnap and kill your family. Now they could stand in front of the judge and say that, and the judge would say, I'm not dismissing the case. Clearly, that's not the case here. So he's abusing his authority. They have said clearly, openly, via the media, we're dismissing this because this was a political retribution prosecution. That's why we're dismissing it. Nobody's being holding anything over our head. Nobody's trying to, threaten us. You could dismiss these charges without any thought or malice.
There you go. Now, one of the things they have said is they're wondering why, because they've said that they're dismissing it, but without prejudice as opposed to with prejudice, meaning the charges can always be refiled. Why wouldn't they Why wouldn't they just make it so that the charges can't be refiled?
And that's how most of them are. When you get a charge like this, like say you get you don't have enough. The state prosecutor or the prosecutor, state attorney's office, all of a sudden realizes they don't have enough evidence for a conviction or to go to trial, so they'll dismiss without prejudice, which means we can come back later and do it again. With prejudice means you're done. You've already shown that you did this for malice reasons. You did this for wrong reasons. With prejudice means you cannot refile these charges. It almost attaches to double jeopardy.
Right. Okay. Well, like I said, all I know is the fact that they are now looking to attempt to potentially remove him from office because he wants to protect his city. I find to be outrageous.
Yeah, Governor Adams, get used to saying it, because if that happens, that's what the case is gonna be.
Get used to it. Get used to it. Well, one of the other things that happened was the president now is working on or talking about basically declaring cartels, the Mexican cartels, to be terrorist organizations. And the reason behind that, it's not just about being hyperbolic, but it opens the door for various different tools and resources to be used in order to combat the human trafficking, to combat the drug trafficking, all of these things that are taking place at our southern border. Well, the president of Mexico decided that she was going to chime in a little bit because they don't have a Second Amendment there in Mexico, so they don't like the fact that we have a Second Amendment here. So the Mexican president basically threatened gun makers that if Trump declares cartels to be terrorists, she's going to declare them to be co-conspirators. And I'll read a little bit here. It says, hypothetically, no one likes cartels. The governments of both Mexico and the United States say they oppose them and want to do something about them, but no one actually believes it in the case of the Mexican government. Why? Because they could have done something thousands of times, including ask the U.S. for help, but they haven't. But if I had any doubts about Mexican officials being in their pocket, they've completely eradicated that. See, President Trump has been talking about classifying cartels as terrorist groups or terrorist organizations. This opens a plethora of tools the U.S. can use to combat them. And considering how they operate, it's not exactly wrong to think in such a way. Their goal is ultimately money versus politics, but that's a difference without a distinction when it comes to what they do and how they do it. But now we have Mexico here. Here we go. This is Claudia Sheinbaum. She said this at a press conference. If they declare these criminal groups as terrorists, then we'll have to expand our U.S. lawsuit. And basically what they're doing is they're saying that they would charge them with complicity, meaning they are being complicit or co-conspirators with the cartels when it comes to the crimes that they're committing or the shootings, the violence that's taking place there in Mexico. I have to wonder, what does she think she is going to win with this?
I think she's gaining support back in Mexico. It's not what's going on. They can at this point, those lawsuits that have been filed by Mexico against gun manufacturers have not been dismissed yet, just because Pam Bondi has not gotten to them yet. Okay, that's going to occur. The new attorney general is going to walk down the hall and go, "That's dismissed. That's dismissed. That's dismissed. You can't. We're the prosecution. We are not going to allow these to come forth. They're going to go away. They're going to be gone. And by the way, Mexico, thank you for suggesting you're going to up these games. We have some wonderful parting gift tariffs for you to go with them."
I actually could totally see the president saying that. I don't know. I mean, Kevin, do you think that there ought to at least be some foundation in truth or fact before she starts trying to include them as co-conspirators?
Well, I think it says more about them than it does us and our gun manufacturers here in this country. And that is, if she's looking to go to bat for the drug cartels that are in her country, that basically run her country, that we know it, pretty much tells you kind of in bed together. and she's trying to protect them. So I look at it this way. Mike may agree with this. Couple weeks back, do you remember the drug cartel said it was going to be open season across the border on border agents, a National Guard, anyone on our side of the border trying to protect the border? Well, if they're going to protect the cartels the way they are, and looks like they're in bed with the cartels, wouldn't that be an act of war? If they start shooting across borders?
Yep.
Can they mention something about drones?
Absolutely. We might have to build the wall a little higher because of all the dead Mexican bodies on their side.
Ooh, wow. Okay, well, that took a dark a dark direction there, real quick.
Listen, you've seen this before over in ISIS land in Syria and over there. When the Russians attacked, the Americans called and the Russians had said, "Hey, we just want to make sure you know who you're attacking," and the Russians said, "Oh, we don't have anybody in the area," and they completely, annihilated Russian battalions that were there, tanks, aircraft, everything else. And then the Americans called back and said, "Hey, just so we're clear, now there are no Russians in the area."
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
I'll give you an example. You don't want to fight with the American military. You really don't. When I was in Afghanistan, we had multiple camps all throughout, up and down, all throughout greater Afghanistan. You had the Italian camp, the British camp, the French camp, and the Taliban and Al Qaeda would always pick fights in front of those camps. They would always go out and start nonsense and start an engagement in front of those camps. Never, ever once did they ever start it in front of the American camp, because they knew we would decimate them. And when they would get called, we'd have an American in with one of those other foreign camps. An American would be there and call for assistance. They disappeared. I mean, we turned them into dust, when we found them. We will bring hell to pay on you that you would not understand. The amount of warfare and death and destruction the American military could bring on you like that is ridiculous.
And let's talk about rules of engagement. They'll be a little bit different under Trump.
Oh,
Trump's about winning.
You point that thing at me, and you're going to have more than tariffs to take home to your family.
I like that. You point that thing at me.
Yeah.
I love that. You point that thing at me. Look. We gonna be having a conversation here real quick.
Yeah, that conversation starts and ends with pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew. There you go. One last story before we get on to our parting shots. George Washington. Now, we have the state of Washington and we have Washington, D.C. Well, in the state of Washington, they are actually contemplating removing George Washington from their flag in order to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, or represent their state's values. I'm not even going to respect the story by pulling it up. I'm just going to throw the red meat out there for you guys. What's up with this?
This is how Seattle becomes part of Canada. This is how it happens. There's always been talk, Craig, of between Washington State, Oregon, and California splitting off their eastern sides and becoming their own independent state, more conservative state, or becoming part of Idaho, whatever it happens to be. I can easily see the next vote where everything east of Seattle votes to get rid of Seattle and make it part of Canada. There you go. Now you're Lower Vancouver. Have at it. Have fun. See you later.
What are your thoughts, Kevin?
I agree with Mike, and I really agree on the whole idea about everything east of basically Seattle, of Lake Washington, because that part is beautiful. The coast is beautiful, but that center part's pretty left, pretty crazy. Not even left anymore. I don't even know what it is. It's like an extreme left.
Yes,
Yeah,
pretty much.
North San Francisco is what it is. It's North San Francisco.
Yeah.
North San Francisco. I do not disagree with that assessment one bit. All right, folks, so that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right there. And when you make your purchase, you will get a discount on us. So check them out today. That's hogholsters.com. Okay, Mike wanted to make sure that I included these in our parting shots today. This first one here, well, let's just say that The Godfather is one of the most iconic films ever, which is why talking about the Doge Father, well, that just kind of works, doesn't it?
He is the Doge Father.
That works.
That does work. He is the Doge Father, which, by the way, goes hand in hand with this one that Mike also wanted to make sure that we included. I wanted to make sure I included it today with this one. And it's a picture of Elon Musk looking, and it says, "Watching bureaucrats you fire drive away in cars you made."
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? The T,
There is
the
something
T on the back of the car stands for Trump, by the way.
That T on the back stands for Trump. And by the way, because in Europe they believe that what they do believe that speech is violence. That I think makes this next one fit from our friends over at the Babylon Bee. Deranged maniac fires off 17 memes in a crowded German shopping mall.
Oh boy,
Oh my God, the humanity.
he's going to jail.
Oh, the inhumanity of it all.
Go to
Then
the
we've got
cooler.
another. Then we've got another one here.
Did anyone survive?
Probably not. Probably not. And then we have here the Legion of Doom condemns J.D. Vance's speech. That did kind of look like he was standing there before the Legion of Doom, didn't it?
It really did.
Yep. In Bizarro.
Okay. All right, I want to show this last one. I want to show this quick video because it kind of will help you to understand our last parting shot here real quick. You may have known they had the big hockey tournament, and U.S. played Canada, and let's just say it went down.
Here's face-off matchup is underway, and the gloves are off. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel. Hagel from Tampa Bay, Tkachuk from Florida. Did not see this coming.
For those of you who are just listening to the program, they're fighting after Canada decided to boo during the national anthem.
This was set up. Here you go. Bennett in the lineup for the first time.
So Craig gave you a little background on this, right? The Canadians decided to boo the American national anthem, right?
Yes.
So Tkachuk goes after them in 3 seconds. There's 3 seconds ticked off the clock before they went after him. 20 years ago, Tkachuk's father was playing for the USA team, and they got booed by the Canadian team. It took him 9 seconds back then, and he went after Mario Lemieux, threw down the gloves and went after him. So this is a like father, like son thing. You're gonna boo our country? Here, the first shot's gonna be to your chin, buddy boy. Here you go.
Gotta dig it. Which leads us to our headline from the Babylon Bee. Man finally realizes reason people play hockey is so that you can legally punch a Canadian in the face.
It's true. You got to watch though. They got breakaway teeth. They go away pretty simple. So you got to fight real hard.
They got breakaway teeth. All right, good stuff. All right, well, hey, folks, we're here near the end of the program, but before we go, we got one more thing we got to do, and you all know what that is. We got one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yes, let's say our good friends Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Remember, you can get yourself AR barrels and rifle or pistol calibers, any length you desire for your next AR build or replatform your current AR rifle or pistol. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. And if you want to get the best in tactical gear, field gear, law enforcement gear, military, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, you can get one thing or you can get 100 things at uscombatgear.com.
Kevin, you want to give 2A Freedom Fest one more quick plug?
Real quick, guys. If you guys don't mind, can I go over the schedule real quick?
Go for it.
Would be great. All right, so our event starts at 10 a.m. at Runaway Campers in Summerfield, Florida. Opening prayer at 10 a.m. Our first guest speaker is going to be Stephen Shives, owner of Runaway Campers. We're going to start off with our media panel first. We're going to start off then. Well, next would be giveaways throughout the entire event, not just at the end through the entire event. We have a ton of giveaways to do. Diversity panel. Next at 11:45 is our more giveaways, and the two-way organizational panel are then our attorney panel with David Katz, James Phillips, and Eric Friday. Then we have our conclusion of the event with our ending it with all our individual guest speakers, which are Representative Ryan Chamberlain, Gina Roberts, Dan Wass, Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America, and Jarrett Yanis with Guns and Gadgets on YouTube, Lucretia Hughes, and Mr. Craig DeLuz. Mike is doing a special. Mike is doing something special. Mike, you could talk about that, what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, it's opening of spring training. We're going to go over the importance of middle relief pitching. So we're going to be talking about that.
Because that is very, very important to the Second Amendment. Thank you very much. All right, folks, thank you so much.
Greg, I do want to thank Kevin for joining us from the gift shop at the Cracker Barrel. So thank you for coming.
Okay, that's a good one. For those of you who are just listening to the program, there's a bunch of pans that are up behind him. It's very Cracker Barrel-ish.
Those are not just pans, Kevin. What are they?
They're cast iron.
Cast iron, refurbed cast irons. Kevin refurbs those as a professional.
Lots of them.
I know he's a professional cast iron skillet refurbisher.
He is. Yep.
All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program. Encourage you to be back tomorrow. It will be Hump Day, where we will attempt to begin the weekend, hopefully this time with some success. Anyway, y'all take care. Have fun. Stay safe. And if you get a chance, send a few downrange. We will holler at you mañana.